What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show. We got some big news here about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and pretty much all of the above here as Congress is working on a fix to the systems, right? And well, take a look at this, then we'll talk about this because this is gonna really speed things up here, or probably. Take a look. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. Really helps out our YouTube channel. Of course, share at the end of the video, but thanks so much for liking these videos. Here we go. Okay, according to a brand new report from the government, a risk of shortfall raises the stakes in a Social Security fight. Here's what it says. A new budget report pulling the insolvency date for Social Security to within a decade, less than a decade, is prompting fresh unease among senators and a greater urgency to act. And well, it's really going to do it for a lot of Americans too. In its latest Outlook report, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, if you've been watching my channel, you've heard that. Those are basically the mathematicians of the government, the people that do the math. They're not Republicans, they're not Democrats, they're people that tell the numbers, right? Math doesn't lie. The Congressional Budget Office projected that the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund, which pays out retirement and survivors benefits, would be exhausted in 2032. So let's just read that again. The Congressional Budget Office projected that the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund, which pays out retirement and survivors benefits, would be exhausted in 2032. Yeah. And this is why I'd like to show you guys this stuff right here in black and white. Experts say the recent projection from the nonpartisan budget scorekeeper brings the insolvency date within the nation's 10-year budget window for the first time in decades. Senate Majority Whip Dick Durbin, a Democrat from Illinois, expressed concerns about the development, telling The Hill it raises the stakes for Congress to act sooner on shoring up the solvency for the program. Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat from Virginia, also said he thinks the annual report provides a push to ongoing talks about possible fixes, though he's not raising his hopes just yet. I have a video where I just talk about several of the fixes that Congress is working on right now. I'll link you to that video here at the end of this video. Senator Bernie Sanders also just reintroduced a new version of the 2023 bill, which would increase the solvency for Social Security by 75 years and increase the benefits by $2,400 a year for everybody on Social Security. So I can link you to both those videos here at the end of this video. So you can watch that, either one of those. Very good videos. It kind of gives you the options of at least what they're talking about right now, so you can get all of those details. Senator Tim Kaine said, I don't know that I'm predicting success on this in the next few months, but there are good discussions going on. He said, adding that he's involved in bipartisan talks looking at programs' funding issues. Lawmakers have long been wary about touching Social Security. There has been little visible unity on Capitol Hill on the issue beyond promises from both parties to not touch the entitlement program. As public attention around the program's funds has risen in recent weeks, so too has a partisan feud begun to heat up over entitlements on Capitol Hill, as both sides clash over how to address the nation's debt limit. Senator Marco Rubio, a Republican from Florida, said, quote, "We're in an environment today where anyone who talks about saving Social Security and Medicare is going to be accused of wanting to cut it." Now, note here that calling Social Security and Medicare or even Medicaid an entitlement program, the reason they call Social Security and Medicare entitlement programs is because you pay into Social Security and Medicare. So you pay into them, so you're entitled to the benefits. So that's why they call them entitlement programs. I know that the word entitlement actually kind of has a negative connotation about it. And I get it because at first when I heard it, I said, why? It just doesn't sound right. But then when you actually hear that we're entitled to the benefits, then it actually makes sense to you that they're entitlement programs, right? So yeah, I actually get it once I heard that explanation because at first I was kind of mad about them calling it entitlement. Like it just doesn't sound right. It sounds like, um, a little kid being entitled, sounding entitled. Like you hear about, somebody just sounding like they're entitled. But in this case, you're actually entitled to the benefits because you paid into the system, Social Security and Medicare, at least, right? So you can see here recent figures from the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, estimated a sharp rise in funding for Social Security over the next 10 years. Experts say Congress is losing time to make less painful changes to ensure eligible recipients will be able to receive their full benefits in the coming years. Quote, "We've actually known about the need to make reforms for decades," plural. Maya McGinnis, president of the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, said in an interview, "And every year that we've waited means that those ultimate spending reductions and tax increases are going to have to be larger and more painful, hitting people who can afford them less because we've waited and because Republicans and Democrats in Congress can't agree to make any changes." Yeah. Richard Johnson, a senior fellow for the Income and Benefits Policy Center at the Urban Institute, also warned Congress risks having to impose more dramatic fixes to help protect the program's solvency if it waits, quote, "until it becomes a real crisis," as if it's not already, which it really is. Quote, "Let's say if we increased taxes 20 years ago, then all that money would have been going into the Social Security Trust Fund and Medicare. And that would have shored up Social Security. Now, we've lost those 20 years of increased revenues. So now to make up the difference, we will be able to contribute more. We will have to contribute more," I think he's trying to say there. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, a Republican from Oklahoma who was elected last year, shared a similar outlook in remarks on Thursday, suggesting Congress is more likely to wait until the last minute, the deadline, than act sooner, like Congress always does, while also forecasting the impact the coming presidential cycle could have on the political climate. That would be really bad. Yeah, so the problem is, it's like, you think about it, it's like they really have a good time to do it right now, because if they don't do it here in 2023, next year is the presidential election, 2024. So if they don't really do it now this year, it'll be a really hard time to do it next year, because next year will be the presidential election year. And the chances of them doing it right before a presidential election, probably a lot harder to do. And also remember that a lot of these senators and everybody in the House will also be up for reelection as well. Will it happen right before a massive reelection? I don't know. Now's actually the time to do it now, right after everybody got elected. Um, yeah. So the problem is this has been put off for decades, years and years and years, and You guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but they're going to have to do something. The longer and longer they wait to do this, I hate to say this, but the more likely that Social Security could run out of money or Medicare could run out of money. If you watch my other video from that congressman who literally showed the charts and the details of why Social Security and Medicare is running out of money. Believe it or not, actually, Medicare is a big reason on why it's running out of money. It actually takes a big chunk of the money, healthcare costs, believe it or not. If you didn't see that, I'll link you to that video here as well. It's a really good video to make you kind of understand why. Um, and remember that now that baby boomers are retiring, there's a big chunk percentage wise of the population that are now retiring and not paying into the system anymore and now taking benefits out. And remember that the last two cost of living adjustments were the largest in over 40 years. And the last one, the last two actually, um, were the largest since 1981. The last one was the largest, the fourth largest ever. So the problem is they're taking more and more money out of Social Security, and it's going to be harder and harder to replace that money now. So they're going to have to make some changes, and I'll keep you up to date here on everything going on here that they're proposing, working on, and everything happening else in our country. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. Just click the subscribe button, then the bell icon that appears after you subscribe. It's completely free to do so. Literally just click the button. And also thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos with anybody that needs to hear this information. Here's some videos you can watch next. Here, the top video here is the video about the congressman who talks on the House floor about why Social Security and Medicare is running out of money. Very good video there. This bottom video is the proposed solutions on how they're going to fix Social Security. And this video is the new bill from Senator Bernie Sanders for 2023 to raise benefits by $2,400. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.